Hey to all you lovely parents out there who watch my lives. Today I wanted to talk about the best tips for settling, or my best tips for settling an under or overtired baby. This can be, something that a lot of parents have trouble with. Everybody knows about overtiredness. I mean, I'm sure every parent knows not to let your baby get overtired. But a lot of people aren't really as aware as undertired. Some parents are so nervous of their baby being overtired that they're actually putting them to sleep when they're undertired. And this can cause issues, settling issues. Overtired can cause settling issues, and so can undertired. And the symptoms are extremely similar, they're very similar. So, when you're putting a baby to bed undertired, they're not, or overtired, they're not going to settle well for naps. They won't settle well at bedtime. If you're putting them to bed undertired, if you're putting them for naps undertired, they might actually just refuse a whole nap or a big chunk of it. And there's just a slew of things that can happen if you let your baby get undertired or overtired before a nap. So it's best to make sure that you are catching their awake times really well. So let's get into this. The first tip I wanted to give would be wake windows. You want to make sure that you're getting your baby's wake windows perfectly, just right, so to speak. And this is easier said than done, but once you figure it out, usually, well, actually, the wake times that most babies have are age appropriate. So the older a baby gets, the bigger their wake time can be. And wake time is the time they're awake between sleep. So, for example, a 1 month old, they are capable of staying awake for an hour between sleep, and you want to have them taking at least four more naps, and you want to have them taking at least 5 to 6 hours of daytime sleep. And you don't want to exceed that amount of daytime sleep, because then that can make them undertired come bedtime or during the night, which will cause frequent wakings. And then if you put it the other way, you want to make sure that you're not making your baby too overtired, keeping them awake too long before bedtime too, because that will also cause settling problems. So anyways, a 1 month old can stay awake for about an hour, whereas like a 12 month old, it's usually around 5 ish, sometimes 6 hours for a 12 month old. So totally different amount of wake times, and those are age appropriate. But once you like hone in on those awake times and you really get those down, that may just be all you need. You may not need to do any kind of sleep training, because if you can get those wake times done, then you might be golden, you might be good to go. That being said, that doesn't happen for everybody, so still it is important to follow wake windows no matter what. And if you need to apply sleep training method in the long run, then so be it. A lot of babies need sleep training. Sleeping well is not something that babies know how to do. It does have to be taught to them. A lot of babies, they like to be held, and my son, for example, I could not do anything when he was napping. I either had to lay with him, hold him, baby wear him. I mean, it was not sustainable. But babies, that they're so used to, being in mommy's belly, that when they come out, they need to be taught, to sleep independently without someone else there for them. So anyways, another tip that I have would be to establish good sleep habits. So this includes, for example, putting your baby down for all sleep in their crib, awake, but drowsy. And when I mean drowsy, I mean calm and relaxed. I do not mean fluttery-eyed. I do not mean half asleep. That would mean you assisted them to sleep. That would mean they did not fall asleep independently. You want them falling asleep independently. So that means putting them down awake, but ready for sleep. Meaning their awake window is over for all sleep. And putting them to sleep in their crib is literally the best thing you can do. They will have the most restorative sleep if they're in a crib where they can have a really good sleep environment as well, like white noise. It'll be dark in there, pitch black dark. and in a sleep sack so they're not getting too cold during the sleep. So having them in their crib, in their room for sleep, is a really good sleep habit to establish, along with making sure you're putting them down awake but ready for sleep. Super important. So doing that will also really help them to settle well, because when they're in their own crib, it's easier to settle. They know that it's time for sleep. So if you have a newborn, at least doing one nap in the crib, starting with one nap, is good. And then you can obviously build on that as time goes on, but at least one nap for a newborn, and that is from 0 to 2 months old. Yeah, you really want to start establishing that. Okay, my next tip for you would be the bedtime routine. So the bedtime routine should always be really calm, relaxing. It shouldn't be long and drawn out. 20 to 30 minutes for a bedtime routine is perfect. You also don't want to make feeding the last part of your bedtime routine, because then your baby will associate feeding with sleep, and you don't want that, because that will create a sleep habit or a sleep association, and they'll need to feed to get to sleep. Trust me, did it with all my kids, and got away with it with my first two, but with my son, yeah, I couldn't get away with it anymore. So I had to sleep train him. And now he's a champ at sleeping, so I'm so glad that I did. But yeah, so if you can make the bedtime routine very calming, relaxing, and not drawn out, then that's perfect. This will help them to settle well, because the overtiredness for your baby will have built up throughout the day. So by the time bedtime comes around, you really don't want to draw that out and cause them to be even more tired from the bedtime routine. You want this bedtime routine to be short and sweet, but calm and relaxing. You don't want to like rush it or anything like that. So it should be calm and relaxing, but it doesn't have to be long. You can give them a bath, you can give them a bottle, and then you can read them a book, and then you can lay them down. I always do the 3 Bs. I love the 3 Bs: book, bottle, bed. Sorry, you don't want bottle to be the last. So yeah, anyways, what I just said, that's what you need to be doing. The 3 Bs are so helpful in so many ways, so I definitely recommend doing that. And then my last tip for you guys would be to figure out if naps are where you need to start with sleep training. If your baby is not doing well with naps, if they're not sleeping well throughout the day, then by the time bedtime comes around, they're not going to settle well. And if you're trying sleep training methods during this time, it's going to be very hard. They're going to fight you. So if you think that working on naps first instead of bedtime sleep would be better for sleep training, then by all means do it. If they need more help with their naps right now, then you can focus on naps. I usually do say to do bedtime first, but for some parents, that's just not possible. It's just way too hard to try to get their baby to settle at that time because they're so overtired. So trying to sleep train them during the day might be more helpful. You need to figure out what works for you and what you think your baby needs. In my opinion, like I said, I do suggest people start at bedtime because it's much easier. But if they're not napping well during the day and you think maybe sleep training during the day would be better for you, then by all means you need to do it. So do what works for you, do what works for your baby. I mean, you could always try it out for a few days, and if it's really not doing anything, if it's just making things worse after about a week, if it's just making things worse, then go with the nighttime training. But sometimes when we get the naps under control, the bedtime sleep kind of follows along naturally. Every baby is different though, so you have to be the judge of your own baby, and you have to understand what you think would be best for them. So anyways, that is my tips for today. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know what you think in the comments. And also, if you like this content, then you would probably love my group. It's called Sleep Little One, and it's where I give free advice and tips on how to improve your baby's sleep so that you and your family can get the rest that you so desperately need. So anyways, I'd love to see you over there. The link is in the description, wherever that is. And I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye.